HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents Foster by Claire Keegan. Read by Aoife Mcmahon.
1. Early on a Sunday, after First Mass in Clonagall, my father, instead of taking me home, drives deep into Wexford towards the coast, where my mother's people came from. It is a hot day, bright, with patches of shade and greenish sudden light along the road. We pass through the village of Shillelagh, where my father lost our red shorthorn in a game of 45, and on past the mart in Carnew, where the man who won the heifer sold her shortly afterwards. My father throws his hat on the passenger seat, winds down the window, and smokes. I shake the plaits out of my hair and lie flat on the back seat, looking up through the rear window. In places there's a bare blue sky. In places the blue sky is chalked over with clouds. But mostly it is a heady mixture of sky and trees scratched over by ESB wires, across which, every now and then, small brownish flocks of vanishing birds race. I wonder what it will be like, this place belonging to the Kinsellas. I see a tall woman standing over me, making me drink milk still hot from the cow. I see another, less likely version of her, in an apron, pouring pancake batter onto a frying pan, asking would I like another, the way my mother sometimes does when she's in good humour. The man will be her size. He will take me to town on the tractor and buy me red lemonade and crisps. Or he'll make me clean out sheds and pick stones and pull ragweed and docks out of the fields. I see him pulling what I hope will be a 50p piece from his pocket, but it turns out to be a handkerchief. I wonder if they live in an old farmhouse or a new bungalow, whether they will have an outhouse or an indoor bathroom with a toilet and running water. I picture myself lying in a dark bedroom with other girls, saying things we won't repeat when morning comes. An age, it seems, passes before the car slows and turns into a tarred, narrow lane. Then a thrill as the wheels slam over the metal bars of a cattle grid. On either side, thick hedges are trimmed square. At the end of the lane, there's a long white house with trees whose limbs are trailing the ground. "Da," I say. "The trees." "What about 'em?" "They're sick," I say. "They're weeping willows," he says, and clears his throat. In the yard, tall, shiny panes reflect our coming. I see myself looking out from the back seat, wild as a tinker's child, with my hair all loose. But my father, at the wheel, looks just like my father. A big, loose hound, whose coat is littered with the shadows of the trees, lets out a few rough, half-hearted barks, then sits on the step and looks back at the doorway where the man has come out to stand. He has a square body, like the men my sisters sometimes draw, but his eyebrows are white, to match his hair. He looks nothing like my mother's people, who are all tall with long arms, and I wonder if we have not come to the wrong house. "Dan," he says, and tightens himself. "What way are you?" "John," Da says. They stand, looking out over the yard for a moment, and then they are talking rain, how little rain there is, how the fields need rain, how the priest in Kilmuckridge prayed for rain that very morning, how a summer like it was never known before. There is a pause, during which my father spits, and then the conversation turns to the price of cattle, the EEC, butter mountains, the cost of lime and sheep dip. It is something I am used to, this way men have of not talking. They like to kick a divot out of the grass with a boot heel, to slap the roof of a car before it takes off, to spit, to sit with their legs wide apart, as though they do not care. When the woman comes out, she pays no heed to the men. She is even taller than my mother, with the same black hair, but hers is cut tight like a helmet. She's wearing a printed blouse and brown flared trousers. The car door is opened and I am taken out and kissed. My face, being kissed, turns hot against hers. "The last time I saw you, you were in the pram," she says, and stands back, expecting an answer. "The pram's broken." "What happened at all?" "My brother used it for a wheelbarrow and the wheel fell off." She laughs and licks her thumb and wipes something off my face. I can feel her thumb, softer than my mother's, wiping whatever it is away. When she looks at my clothes, I see my thin cotton dress, my dusty sandals, through her eyes. There's a moment when neither one of us knows what to say. A queer, ripe breeze is crossing the yard. "Come on in, Alanov." She leads me into the house. There's a moment of darkness in the hallway. When I hesitate, she hesitates with me. We walk through into the heat of the kitchen, where I am told to sit down, to make myself at home. Under the smell of baking, there's some disinfectant, some bleach. She lifts a rhubarb tart out of the oven and puts it on the bench to cool. Syrup on the point of bubbling over, thin leaves of pastry baked into the crust. A cool draught from the door blows in, but here it is hot and still and clean. Tall ox-eyed daisies are still as the tall glass of water they are standing in. There is no sign, anywhere, of a child. "So how's your mammy keeping?" "She won a tenner on the prize bonds." "She did not." "She did," I say. "We all had jelly and ice cream, and she bought a new tube and mending kit for the bicycle." "Well, wasn't that a treat?" "It was," I say, and feel again the steel teeth of the comb against my scalp earlier that morning, the strength of my mother's hands as she wove the plaits tight, her belly at my back, hard with the next baby. I think of the clean pants she packed in the suitcase, the letter, and what she may have written. Words had passed between them. "How long should they keep her?" "Can't they keep her as long as they like?" "Is that what I'll say?" "Say what you like. Isn't that what you always do?" Now the woman fills an enamel jug with milk. "Your mother must be busy." "She's waiting for them to come and cut the hay." "Have ye not the hay cut?" she says. "Aren't ye late?" When the men come in from the yard, it grows momentarily dark, then brightens once again when they sit down. "Well, missus," says Da, pulling out a chair. "Dan," she says in a different voice, "there's a scorcher of a day." "'Tis hot, surely." She turns her back to watch the kettle, waiting. "Wouldn't the fields be glad of a sup of rain?" he says. "Won't we have the rain for long enough?" She looks at the wall as though a picture is hanging there, but there is no picture on that wall. Just a big mahogany clock with 2 hands and a big copper pendulum swinging. "Wasn't it a great year for the hay all the same? Never saw the like of it," says Da. "The loft is full to capacity. I nearly split my head on the rafters pitching it in." I wonder why my father lies about the hay. He is given to lying about things that would be nice, if they were true. Somewhere, further off, someone has started up a chainsaw, and it drones on like a big stinging wasp for a while in the distance. I wish I was out there, working. I am unused to sitting still, and do not know what to do with my hands. Part of me wants my father to leave me here, while another part of me wants him to take me back to what I know. I am in a spot where I can neither be what I always am, nor turn into what I could be. The kettle lets off steam and rumbles up to boiling point, its steel lid clapping. The presence of a black and white cat moves on the window ledge. On the floor, across the hard, clean tiles, the woman's shadow stretches, almost reaching my chair. Kinsellas gets up and takes a stack of plates from the cupboard, opens a drawer and takes out knives and forks, teaspoons. He takes the lid off a jar of beetroot and puts it on a saucer with a little serving fork. Leaves out sandwich spread and salad cream. My father watches closely as he does this. Already there's a bowl of tomatoes and onions, chopped fine, a fresh loaf, a block of red cheddar. "And what way is Mary?" The woman says. "Mary, she's coming near her time." Da sits back, satisfied. "I suppose the last babby is getting hardy?" "Aye," Da says. "It's the feeding them that's the trouble. There's no appetite like a child's. And believe you me, this one is no different." "Ah, don't we all eat in spurts, the same as we grow?" says the woman, as though this is something he should know. "She'll eat, but you can work her." Kinsella looks up. "There'll be no need for any of that," he says. "The child will have no more to do than help Edna round the house." "We'll keep the child gladly," the woman echoes. "She's welcome here." "She'll let you out of house and home," Da says. "But I don't suppose there'll be a word about it this time 12 months. When we sit in at the table, Da reaches for the beetroot. He doesn't use the serving fork, but pitches it onto the plate with his own. It stains the pink ham, bleeds. Tea is poured. There's a patchy silence as we eat, as our knives and forks break up what's on our plates. Then, after some time, the tart is cut. Cream falls over the hot pastry into pools. Now that my father has delivered me and eaten his fill, he is anxious to light his fag and get away. Always, it's the same. He never stays in any place long after he's eaten. Not like my mother, who would talk until it grew dark and light again. This, at least, is what my father says, even though I have never known it to happen. With my mother, it is all work. Us, the butter making, the dinners, the washing up and getting ready for mass and school, weaning calves and hiring men to plough and harrow the fields, stretching the money and setting the alarm. But this is a different type of house. Here there is room and time to think. There may even be money to spare. "I'd better hit the road," Da says. "What hurry is on you?" Kinsellas says. "The daylight is burning and I've yet the spuds to spray." "There's no fear of blight these evenings," the woman says. But she rises anyway, picks up the sharp knife and goes out the back door. I want to go with her, to shake the clay off whatever she cuts and carry it back into the house. A type of silence climbs and grows tall between the men while she is out. "Give this to Mary," she says, coming in. "I'm snowed under with rhubarb, whatever kind of year it is." My father takes it from her, but it is as awkward as the baby in his arms. A stalk falls to the floor and then another. He waits for her to pick it up, to hand it to him. She waits for him to do it. Neither of them will budge. In the end, it's Kinsella who stoops to lift it. "There now," he says. Out in the yard, my father throws the rhubarb onto the back seat, gets in behind the wheel and starts the engine. "Good luck to you," he says. "I hope this girl will give no trouble." He turns to me then. "Try not to fall into the fire, you." I watch him reverse, turn into the lane, and drive away. I hear the wheels slam over the cattle grid, then the changing of gears and the noise of the motor going back the road we came. Why did he leave without so much as a goodbye, without ever mentioning that he would come back for me? The strange, ripe breeze that's crossing the yard feels cooler now, and big white clouds have marched in across the barn. "What's ailing you, child?" the woman says. I look at my feet, dirty in my sandals. Kinsellas stands in close. "Whatever it is, tell us. We won't mind." "Lord God Almighty, didn't he go and forget all about your bits and bobs?" the woman says. "No wonder you're in a state. Well, hasn't he a head like a sieve, the same man?" "What matter?" Kinsellas says. "We'll have you togged out in no time." "There won't be a word about it this time 12 months, the woman says. They laugh hard for a moment, then stop. When I follow the woman back inside, I want her to say something, to put my mind at ease. Instead, she clears the table, picks up the sharp knife, and stands in the light under the window, washing the blade under the running tap. She stares at me as she wipes it clean and puts it away. "Now, Gerline," she says, "I think it's past time you had a bath." 2. Beyond the kitchen, carpeted steps lead to an open room. There's a big double bed with a candle wick spread and lamps at either side. This, I know, is where they sleep, and I'm glad, for some reason, that they sleep together. The woman takes me through to a bathroom, plugs a drain, and turns the taps on full. The bath fills and the white room changes so that a type of blindness comes over us. We can see everything, and yet we can't see. "Hands up," she says, and takes my dress off. She tests the water and I step in, trusting her, but the water is too hot. "Get in," she says. "It's too hot." "You'll get used to it." I put one foot through the steam and feel again the same rough scald. I keep my foot in the water, and then, when I think I can't stand it any longer, my thinking changes, and I can. This water is deeper than any I have ever bathed in. Our mother bathes us in what little she can, and makes us share. After a while, I lie back and through the steam watch the woman as she scrubs my feet. The dirt under my nails she prizes out with tweezers. She squeezes shampoo from a plastic bottle, lathers my hair, and rinses the lather off. Then she makes me stand and soaps me all over with a cloth. Her hands are like my mother's hands, but there is something else in them too, something I have never felt before and have no name for. I feel at such a loss for words, but this is a new place, and new words are needed. "Now, your clothes," she says. "I don't have any clothes." "Of course you don't." She pauses. "Would some of our old things do you for now?" "I don't mind." "Good girl." She takes me to another bedroom past theirs, at the other side of the stairs, and looks through a chest of drawers. "Maybe these will fit you." She is holding a pair of old-fashioned trousers and a new plaid shirt. The sleeves and legs are too long, but she rolls them up and tightens the waist with a canvas belt to fit me. "There now," she says. "Mammy says I have to change my pants every day." "And what else does your mammy say?" "She says you can keep me for as long as you like." She laughs at this and brushes the knots out of my hair and turns quiet. The windows in this room are open, and through these I see a stretch of lawn, a vegetable garden, edible things growing in rows, red spiky dahlias, a crow with something in his beak which he slowly breaks in two and eats, one half and then the other. "Come down to the well with me," she says. "Now? Does now not suit you?" Something about the way she says this makes me wonder if it's something we are not supposed to do. "Is this a secret?" "What?" "I mean, am I not supposed to tell?" She turns me round to face her. I have not really looked into her eyes until now. Her eyes are dark blue, pebbled with other blues. In this light, she has a moustache. "There are no secrets in this house. Do you hear?" I don't want to answer back, but feel she wants an answer. "Do you hear me?" "Yeah." "It's not yeah, it's yes. What is it?" "It's yes." "Yes what?" "Yes, there are no secrets in this house." "Where there's a secret," she says, "there's shame. And shame is something we can do without." "Okay." I take big breaths so I won't cry. She puts her arm around me. "You're just too young to understand." As soon as she says this, I realise she is just like everyone else. and wish I was back at home so all the things I do not understand could be the same as they always are. Downstairs, she fetches the zinc bucket from the scullery and takes me down the fields. At first I feel uneasy in the strange clothes, but walking along I forget. Kinsellas fields are broad and level, divided in strips with electric fences she says I must not touch unless I want a shock. When the wind blows, sections of the longer grass bend over, turning silver. On one strip of land, tall Frisian cows stand all around us, grazing. Some of them look up as we pass, but not one of them moves away. They have huge bags of milk and long teats. I can hear them pulling the grass up from the roots. The breeze, crossing the rim of the bucket, whispers as we walk along. Neither one of us talks, the way people sometimes don't when they are happy. As soon as I have this thought, I realize its opposite is also true. We climb over a stile and follow a dry path worn through the grass. The path snakes through a long field, over which white butterflies skim and dart, and we wind up at a small iron gate where stone steps run down to a well. The woman leaves the bucket on the grass and comes down with me. "Look," she says, "what water is here. Would ever think there wasn't so much as a shower since the 1st of the month." I go down steps until I reach the water. I breathe and hear the sound my breath makes over the still mouth of the well, so I breathe harder for a while to feel these sounds I make coming back. The woman stands behind, not seeming to mind each breath coming back, as though they are hers. "Taste it," she says. "What?" "Use the dipper." She points. Hanging over us is a big ladle, a shadow cupped in the dusty steel. I reach up and take it from the nail. She holds the belt of my trousers so I won't fall in. "It's deep," she says. "Be careful." The sun, at a slant now, throws a rippled version of how we look back at us. For a moment I am afraid. I wait until I see myself not as I was when I arrived, looking like a tinker's child, but as I am now, clean, in different clothes, with the woman behind me. I dip the ladle and bring it to my lips. This water is cool and clean as anything I have ever tasted. It tastes of my father leaving, of him never having been there, of having nothing after he was gone. I dip it again and lift it level with the sunlight. I drink 6 measures of water and wish for now that this place without shame or secrets could be my home. Then the woman pulls me back to where I am safe on the grass and goes down alone. I hear the bucket floating on its side for a moment before it sinks and swallows, making a grateful sound, a glug, before it's torn away and lifted. Walking back along the path and through the fields, holding her hand, I feel I have her balanced. Without me, I am certain she would tip over. I wonder how she manages when I am not here, and conclude that she must ordinarily fetch 2 buckets. I try to remember another time when I felt like this, and am sad because I can't remember a time, and happy too, because I cannot. That night, I expect her to make me kneel down, but instead she tucks me in and tells me I can say a few little prayers in my bed, if praying is what I ordinarily do. The light of the day is still shining bright and strong. She is just about to hang a blanket over the curtain rail to block it out, when she pauses. "Would you rather I left it?" "Yeah," I say. "Yes." "Are you afraid of the dark?" I want to say I am afraid, but I'm too afraid to say so. "Never mind," she says. "It doesn't matter. You can use the toilet past our room, but there's a chamber pot there too if you'd prefer." "I'll be all right," I say. "Is your mammy all right?" "What do you mean?" "Your mammy. Is she all right?" She used to get sick in the mornings, but now she doesn't. Why isn't the hay in? She hasn't enough to pay the man. She only just paid him for last year. God help her. She smooths the sheet across me, pleats it. Do you think she would be offended if I sent her a few bob? Offended? Do you think she'd mind? I think about this for a while. Think about being my mother. She wouldn't, but Dad would. Ah, yes, she says. Your father. She leans over me then and kisses me, a plain kiss, and says good night. I sit up when she is gone and look around the room. Trains of every colour race across the wallpaper. There are no tracks for these trains, but here and there a small boy stands off in the distance, waving. He looks happy, but some part of me feels sorry for every version of him. I roll onto my side, and though I know she wants neither, wonder if my mother will have a girl or a boy this time. I think of my sisters, who will not yet be in bed. They will have thrown their clay buns against the gable wall of the outhouse, and when the rain comes, the clay will soften and turn to mud. Everything changes into something else, turns into some version of what it was before. I stay awake for as long as I can, then make myself get up and use the chamber pot, but only a dribble comes out. I go back to bed, more than half afraid, and fall asleep. At some point later in the night, it feels much later, the woman comes in. I grow still and breathe as though I have not wakened. I feel the mattress sinking, the weight of her on the bed. God help you, child, she says. If you were mine, I'd never leave you in a house with strangers. 3. I wake in this new place to the old feeling of being hot and cold all at once. Mrs. Kinsellas does not notice until later in the day when she is stripping the bed. Lord God Almighty, she says. What? Would you look? She says. What? I want to tell her, right now, to admit to it and be sent home so it will be over. These old mattresses, she says, they weep. They're always weeping. What was I thinking of, putting you on this? We drag it down the stairs, out into the sunlit yard. The hound comes up and sniffs it, ready to cock his leg. Get off, you! She shouts in an iron voice. What's all this? Kinsellas has come in from the fields. It's the mattress, she says. The bloody thing is weeping. Didn't I say it was damp in that room? In fairness, he says, you did. But you shouldn't have dragged that down the stairs on your own. I wasn't on my own, she says. I had help. We scrub it with detergent and hot water and leave it there in the sun to dry. That's terrible, she says. A terrible start altogether. After all that, I think we need a rasher. She heats up the pan and fries rashers and tomatoes cut in halves with the cut side down. She likes to cut things up, to scrub and have things tidy, and to call things what they are. Rashers, she says, putting the rashers on the spitting pan. Run out there and pull up a few scallions. Good girl. I run out to the vegetable garden, pull scallions, and run back in fast as I can, as though the house is on fire and it's water I've been sent for. I'm wondering if there's enough, but the woman laughs. Well, we'll not run short anyhow. She puts me in charge of the toast, lighting the grill for me, showing how the bread must be turned when one side is brown, as though this is something I haven't ever done. But I don't really mind. She wants me to get things right, to teach me. Are we ready? Yeah, I say. Yes. Good girl. Go out there and give himself a shout. I go out and call the call my mother taught me, up the fields. Coo-hoo! Kinsellas comes in a few minutes later, laughing. Oh, there's a shout and a half, he says. I doubt there's a child in Wexford with a finer set of lungs. He washes his hands and dries them, and sits in at the table and butters his bread. The butter is soft, slipping off the knife, spreading easily. They said on the early news that another striker is dead. Not another.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?